From hidden government projects to corporate cover-ups, some conspiracy theories aren't just theories, they're cold, hard facts. In today's video, we're counting down the top 10 conspiracy theories that turned out to be true. You won't believe what was once swept under the rug. Number 10. MKUltra, the CIA's mind control experiments. In the 1950s and 60s, the CIA embarked on a secret project known as MKUltra. The goal? To explore mind control techniques using drugs like LSD and hypnosis. These experiments were conducted on unwitting US and Canadian citizens, often without their consent. The ultimate aim was to develop methods for interrogations and psychological warfare during the Cold War. The truth behind MKUltra was revealed in the 1970s through Senate investigations. The project had already been shut down by that time, but its dark legacy still haunts us today. It's a chilling reminder of how far governments are willing to go in the name of national security. Number 9. The Tuskegee Syphilis Study. In one of the most unethical medical experiments in US history, the Tuskegee Syphilis Study lasted from 1932 to 1972. Over 600 African American men were promised free healthcare but were, in fact, deliberately left untreated for syphilis so scientists could observe the progression of the disease. Even after penicillin was proven as a cure, these men were denied treatment. The public outrage over this study, when it was exposed, eventually led to changes in medical ethics and informed consent laws. But the damage was irreversible, with many of the men suffering severe health consequences and even death. Number 8. Operation Northwoods. During the early 1960s, the US military devised a shocking plan to justify military action against Cuba. Operation Northwoods proposed fake terrorist attacks, including hijacking planes and bombing American cities, all to blame Cuba and gain public support for an invasion. Fortunately, President John F. Kennedy rejected the plan, but the fact that such an idea reached the highest levels of government is truly unsettling. Declassified documents from the 1990s confirmed this conspiracy, showing just how close the US came to staging attacks on its own people. Number 7. COINTELPRO, the FBI's secret war on activism. In the 1960s and 70s, the FBI targeted political activists under a program called COINTELPRO. This covert operation aimed to surveil, infiltrate, and discredit civil rights groups, feminist organizations, and anti-war movements. Key figures like Martin Luther King Jr. and the Black Panthers were specific targets. COINTELPRO operated in secrecy until activists uncovered the program by breaking into an FBI office in 1971. The documents they found revealed the extent of the FBI's illegal activities. It was a scandal that exposed how far the government would go to suppress dissent. Number 6. The Iran-Contra Affair. In the 1980s, a scandal known as the Iran-Contra Affair rocked the US government. Senior officials in the Reagan administration secretly sold arms to Iran, a country under an arms embargo, in exchange for the release of hostages. The profits from these sales were funneled to support Contra rebels in Nicaragua, even though this violated US law. When the secret deal was revealed, it led to multiple convictions. Though some officials were later pardoned, the Iran-Contra affair remains one of the biggest political scandals in US history. Number 5. Watergate Scandal. The Watergate scandal in the 1970s began with a break-in at the Democratic National Committee headquarters. What seemed like a simple burglary turned into a full-blown conspiracy that led to the downfall of President Richard Nixon. Investigative journalists uncovered that the Nixon administration was involved in covering up the break-in and engaging in political espionage. The scandal ultimately led to Nixon's resignation, making him the only US president to resign from office. Watergate is a reminder of how political corruption can infiltrate the highest levels of power. Number 4. Big Tobacco's cover-up. For decades, the tobacco industry denied the link between smoking and lung cancer. They claimed cigarettes were safe, despite mounting scientific evidence to the contrary. Internal documents leaked in the 1990s showed that tobacco companies were fully aware of the dangers of smoking but actively worked to downplay them and suppress public knowledge. The revelations led to massive lawsuits and the 1998 Tobacco Master Settlement Agreement, where major tobacco companies paid billions of dollars in compensation and agreed to restrict their advertising. This conspiracy wasn't just about deception, it was about putting profits above public health. Number 3. The Gulf of Tonkin Incident. The Vietnam War was largely justified by an event known as the Gulf of Tonkin Incident. In 1964, the US claimed that North Vietnamese forces had attacked an American ship. This led to Congress passing the Gulf of Tonkin Resolution, which granted President Lyndon B. Johnson the authority to escalate U.S. involvement in Vietnam. Years later, declassified documents and interviews revealed that the attack was either exaggerated or didn't happen as initially reported. This misinformation was used to justify a conflict that would claim the lives of over 58,000 American soldiers. The Gulf of Tonkin incident remains a powerful example of how governments can manipulate events to pursue military action. Number 2. Project Sunshine. In the 1950s, a strange conspiracy emerged that the US government was secretly collecting dead bodies for radioactive testing. It turns out, this was true. Under Project Sunshine, the government sought to study the effects of nuclear fallout on human tissue. To do this, they harvested body parts, often without the knowledge or consent of the families involved. The project was focused particularly on bones, as radioactive elements like strontium-90 were absorbed by bones after nuclear fallout. When the public learned about Project Sunshine, there was outrage. The government's actions revealed the dark side of scientific research during the Cold War era. Number 1. The NSA's mass surveillance. And finally, the most recent conspiracy on our list, the NSA's mass surveillance program. For years, rumors circulated that the US government was secretly collecting data on its citizens. In 2013, whistleblower Edward Snowden revealed the shocking truth. The NSA was conducting widespread surveillance, tracking phone calls, internet activity, and private communications of millions of Americans. Snowden's leaks exposed a global network of mass data collection, not just targeting criminals or terrorists, but everyday citizens. The revelation sparked a global debate on privacy and security. While the US government claimed these measures were necessary to prevent terrorism, the scope of the surveillance left many questioning the balance between national security and individual freedoms. And there you have it, -10 conspiracy theories that turned out to be true. From secret government experiments to global surveillance, these revelations show that sometimes the truth is stranger than fiction. What do you think? Could there be more hidden truths waiting to be uncovered? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more fascinating content.